Hello everypony, and welcome back to My Little Pony What Works. As I mentioned last time, we'll be looking at the next entry in the Cutie Mark Crusader episodes with Flight to the Finish. School is the focus once again, but how does it measure up compared to the other Cutie Mark Crusader episodes? Let's have a look. This episode revolves around the upcoming Equestria Games that will more than likely air this season. Ms. Harshpony and Rainbow Dash announced to Cheerilee's classroom that some pony will get to represent Ponyville by carrying their hometown flag into the stadium. The Cutie Mark Crusaders, of course, train as hard as they can to near perfection. However, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon have a way to get under their skin. Or should I say, wing. Now, I'm probably not the first one to notice this, but you ever realize when watching this episode that it's a compilation of most of the Cutie Mark Crusader episodes? Think about it, we have the standing up to Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon from Call of the Cutie, we have the girls preparing for a performance, as in the Showstoppers, but they focus on the task at hand, as in Ponyville Confidential, and they add in the bullying victim angle from One Bad Apple. What's strange is, it all coalesces well, if not improve upon certain points. The points that we have fixed are the Showstoppers bit, where the girls actually focus on the performance without emphasizing their true talents to the audience, and the bullying from One Bad Apple is more subdued here. It's almost as if Megan told Ed Valentine to watch these episodes and then fix them, while Scootaloo remains the focus. I have to admit, that is pretty impressive. What's even more impressive was the character development. There was a lot of it, so I'll do my best to cover it all. And as in my Princess Twilight Sparkle review, we'll work from the ground up. First off is Miss Harshpony. Once again, we see she has that astute, snobbish personality from games ponies play, and she doesn't take any nonsense from no pony. Take for example Rainbow Dash, who is very excitable and doesn't take professionalism seriously. That would definitely piss off someone who is very professional. As a result, you have Rainbow Dash trying to act professional without getting overly excited, which displays something I haven't seen since Lesson 0, an inner monologue. It develops Rainbow Dash as at least trying to be professional in the eyes of some pony who takes things seriously. Another thing Rainbow Dash excels at in this episode is honing her element of loyalty. This is demonstrated when Rainbow Dash talks to Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle on the train about never leaving a team member behind. Hooray for continuity! Now we look at the little fillies, starting with Public Enemies number 1 and 2, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. I still have hope that Silver Spoon will turn around and ditch the bitch that is Diamond Tiara. However, pointing out physical flaws to make someone feel bad about themselves is the lowest Diamond Tiara has sunk. And I'd say it's official, Diamond Tiara is an irredeemable character. Onto the Cutie Mark Crusaders as a whole, this episode shows how much they've grown as characters since Call of the Cutie. The blank flank teasing is no longer getting to them. For once, cutie marks are not brought up into the conversation amongst the girls. Well, except for the very end when Rainbow and I felt the same sentiments. And finally, there's the focus character of Scootaloo. I honestly cannot put into words how much development Scootaloo gets in this episode, so I'm gonna save some of that for the entertainment value. Instead, I'll answer one question that came up in conversation with my fellow analysts. Is Scootaloo acting shallow here? In a sense, yes, but Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle pointed out the routine was becoming more about her and less about the team, which plays into the moral of the end and shows the Cutie Mark Crusaders are not complete morons. And here's the one thing that I will hope shut up all the detractors about this plot point. She's a kid! Are you telling me that you never acted selfish in your life? You never let one thing get to you to the point where it's all about you? It's development like this where I can say that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has the best child characters to be represented in televised media since Arthur. Once again, we get another visually appealing episode with great use of shadow, camera movement, and facial expressions. Although Snoot Talk still looks kinda weird. Please don't abuse this in Rarity Takes Manhattan. But of course, we have to talk about the first new song of Season 4, Hearts as Strong as Horses. And I've gotta say, Valentine Ingram and Andrews created a beautiful Cutie Mark Crusader song. Move over Babsy, there's a new Cutie Mark champion in town. And I do emphasize the champion portion. It honestly feels like a victory march with the use of the snare drum in the background. And let me tell you something, that reprise was more effective than when the song was first introduced. This was an interesting episode for entertainment. This is the first time since Magical Mystery Cure where humor wasn't the focus of the entertainment value. Even though there are some pretty humorous bits with Rainbow struggling to keep her cool and Miss Harshpony switching roles at the very end, the entertainment came from the emotional weight of Scootaloo's situation. In Sleepless in Ponyville, the focus was on how Scootaloo viewed Rainbow Dash from an idolization standpoint in comparison to her own personality and being afraid to admit she has fears. In today's episode, we witnessed the first time the shows address Scootaloo's physical shortcomings. We are actually addressing Scootaloo's inability to fly despite having Rainbow Dash, the best flyer in Equestria, as an idol. gives the audience a sense of empathy. And much like the emotional moments in the season premiere, it draws the audience in and keeps them invested. I may have to disagree with Tommy Oliver in saying that this is the best moral in the show. Of course, that belongs to Ponyville Confidential, but the moral is still pretty deep.
You flew and you carried the flag in the games, but that was me. You're you. And it just doesn't matter if you can fly or not. Your routine was amazing because it represented exactly what makes Ponyville special. But Rainbow Dash, what if my wings never grow? Maybe you'll fly someday, or maybe you won't. You're all kinds of awesome anyway.
Now, this is similar to last week's moral in putting someone so high on a pedestal that you diminish yourself in the process. However, the context for the moral is different in terms of the idolizing. Also, I see it as Rainbow Dash taking her lesson learned from Daring Don't and teaching it to a younger generation. Once again, hooray for continuity! Alright, let's recap. The story compiles all the CMC episodes into one nicely while still being its own story. Character development is abundant for better or for worse. Animation is still pretty solid. Hearts as Strong as Horses is a beautiful song. Emotions are felt across the board, and the moral is in the top 10 best morals of the series, although it was a repeat of last week's. Now, there were some contrived moments, like at the train station, but it wasn't as jarring as, say, Luna stopping the plot for exposition. So, I give this episode 4 out of 4 stars. Next time we'll look at the most anticipated episode of Season 4, Power Ponies. I'm the voice of reason, and I'll see you next time.